Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. Today is Tuesday, May 13th, 2014. So this is Razak at CMTrading. We're going to go just over the economic calendar first. If we look at what's up on today, we have at 12 o'clock South African time, the German resurvey. It's an economic sentiment. It is a high impact number, and like I said before, Germany is one of the largest economic foundations of Europe, so it should be a highly effective number. Okay, we're going to go into the euro and see where it's standing after last week's retracement. And then later today we have the USD. We have the core retail sales monthly. Substantial numbers. Okay, I wouldn't say it's the most high impact numbers, but it has shown some evidence in the past to gauge the retail strength in the States. And much of the economy in the United States is based on consumer sentiment. That's what drives the economy in the States. And then another number as the USD advanced retail sales. Okay, that's another number that comes out that will be out later today. So these numbers are substantial coming out. U.S. versus the euro. We'll just go into that. But looking further in the week, we have England coming out with some numbers tomorrow, the U.S., of course, on Wednesday, and then a lot of numbers coming out of the euro on Thursday. So the reason I wanted to touch on that is that if we look at the euro right here, if you remember from last Thursday, we hit this double top. We challenged it at 139.500. And if you remember on a longer time scale, we had pretty much hit maybe 139.600, okay, on the high side, and we just faltered. All right, these thresholds had correlated with Yellen and the Draghi speaking last week. We tanked, if you remember, about almost 200 points, okay, and yesterday we just consolidated in a 10-pip move. Now, we could do one or two things, okay, depending on this German number that's coming out today. We could retrace some of these losses that we had and end up somewhere in the middle here, or we could continue going down. So just to look at a longer time frame, okay, we are at the bottom of this range here. Not a perfect support area. I really like it to be at 138, 112, let's say, as a possible support area. I would say the next support area would be somewhere along 137.23. Okay, so about 23 to 25 pips lower from this as a possible support. In terms of a bounce, if we could expect a bounce, we could hit 137.90, so about 30 pips on the upside, 30 pips on the downside. I don't think these numbers are going to change the market that much today, but just to keep in perspective of what we could expect. Okay, that's also very important. And just knowing exactly what you could have expected in terms of potential volatility in the market. So going into the USD Japanese yen, since we're having a US number coming out today with the retail sales, if we look at daily chart, it's been really sideways trading for the USD Japanese yen. I mean, we had this big move up last year, and then it's been consolidating since the beginning of the year. We've been hitting 102.50 to 101.50, about 100 pips up and down. And right now we find ourselves in the upper range of that as we're coming closer to the 102.70, 700 area. And like I said before, it could be a threshold. If we do see some buying, we may hit up until 102.700 and then retrace back, or we may just falter right here and break this channel. What's important to keep on it is to see where we go, because this will make a determining factor where we're going to go, I think, moving forward. If you remember on a weekly chart, we had this huge move last year, and if you see it, like overall, we've really been just consolidating. This is a lot of churning. So this is my A+ trade, but this is something I would rather look for maybe the opportunity to just, trading within the range, I bought some last week at about this double bottom right here, sold a little bit off of it and held a little bit further, just because I saw we were hitting the bottom range. Okay, so it is important to keep this in perspective, that you can just day trade or swing trade for a couple of days and keep the position, just play within the ranges. So you have much more of a quote-unquote safer bet. Okay, so that would be the USD Japanese yen. For the GBP, Japanese yen, okay, never faltering us, continues to be on its dead highs. Hasn't broken higher than 174, but we are flirting at 172.537, which is a major number. Okay, if we look, on an 8-hour chart, every time this thing retraces, it hits its upper highs. We're almost at the upper range of it. Okay, and the reason why I'm mentioning again this is because tomorrow, let's see how this unfolds with the GDP numbers, inflation numbers that are coming out, which are major numbers. So if we do break 173, we can definitely challenge this 174.5 again. All right, so this is also something you should have on your radar, and just be aware of how it trades today. It might not really trade today until it gets some sort of validity as to the direction that it wants to go. Of course, let's go into the gold just briefly. The gold, yesterday faltered a little bit. We had a nice move up yesterday from 112.81 to about 1303 area. Okay, we had the spike up, and then it just faltered. I mean, if we look at a longer time frame, all right, we'll see that there wasn't really much of a technical of a 4-hour chart. Let's look. There wasn't much of a technical of a resistance on the upper level. You could have said, it wasn't so clear. Let's just say you had this spot out here to anticipate this move down, but as this went up, as it broke on the higher end, especially once it broke like 1294 early in the morning, you saw it wasn't wanted to go. So some traders booked this and took this on the way up. We're able to really capitalize on this. This is not much of a resistance over here, not much of a resistance support, not really. Okay, it wasn't such a clear short up here to retrace on this $12 to $13 move. But again, gold has been trading. As you can see, it's still sideways trading because of what's going on in the Ukraine, lack of visual clarity as to how things are going to unfold in themselves in the news between the United States and Russia. All right, what is noteworthy is the Dow Jones. Okay, we're looking here at the Dow Jones. This is a daily chart, and guess what happened yesterday? All-time highs. All right, we broke up on the upper level. I kept on saying it earlier. That every time we wanted to go down, they wanted to take up. And I said it only a matter of time until they take it further up, and boom, we popped over 16,600 yesterday with closing above that area. Okay, closing to almost the top of that. If we look at that candle, almost the top of the candle. So some significant buying on a Monday, okay, in the market, which should lead the way for the rest of the week. So keep an eye out on this, okay, for continued strength, maybe hitting even 16,800 sometime in the near future, okay. Like I said, every time this retraced, okay, they took it up further. This is yesterday's bar, and as you can see, almost, closing on the dead highs. It hit all the way up to 16,700, okay, which is monumental. Okay, this is the first time the Dow Jones has hit this high. And I would expect the rest of the markets to follow suit, and so keep an eye on this to see if there's continued buying in the Dow Jones. Okay. All right, this is today's wrap-up. I hope you guys have a great trading day. Thank you. It's Fred Razak. Bye-bye.